Welcome to Same Spit, Different Face TV. Well, my opinions is facts, and if you don't like my opinions, you can start your own podcast. And it's free, so don't forget to spit on the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. Welcome to episode 3 of Same Spit, Different Face podcast. That clap y'all heard, it was like some type of bug flying in here. I tried to clap it, but I think I missed it. Anyway, man, I want to talk about this baby situation, Dababy. Now, first of all, I want to point out that the guy, LAH Mike Jr., his name is Michael Wright. He like 19. He the one who said Dababy basically ran off with his last 20K. I want to call Cap. The reason I want to call Cap is because he has a YouTube page with about 297,000 followers in. He has 297,000 followers on Instagram. So he got other videos that he's done 20 versus 1 with other celebrities where they pull up and there's like 20 girls there, and all of those girls basically try to, get that rapper to go home with them or date them, whatever you want to call it, right? So that's cap. And I think it was even more cap, and a lot of people gonna hate me for saying this, but I think it's even more cap that bro say, oh, my grandmother gave me her last 10K, and she gave me 10K on this because she just want to see me blow up. And he already blew up. So lying on his grandma, and I ain't gonna say she don't got cancer, but bringing her into a situation and talking about you blowing up when you already almost at 300,000 followers on Instagram and YouTube, and I know you making the bag off of YouTube if you got 200K followers. I've seen some YouTube checks that certain people get who got less followers than that. So I know you getting the bag off YouTube. So from that perspective, that's corny. I think he's an opportunist for trying to do that. And I think it's corny to try to play on the people in order to get sympathy. Now, let's go to the baby part. Dababy been in the middle of controversy for a very long time. And this guy, Mike, basically saying Dababy ran off with his money, his 20K, and Dababy not denying it. Dababy got online and he basically said, hey, you were disrespecting the young ladies I was with. And so, yeah, I took the 20K and I passed it out to the women. Now, what I will say, this could be a ploy, right? This could be something that they put together in order for the guy to get more exposure, in order for this guy to get more of a bang for his buck. Now, if this is what Dababy did, I will say that was a bad move for his career. I'm sure he's probably still touring. He's probably still getting paid money. In my opinion, I don't think he getting paid as much for a show as he was in his prime, but I also think he's still making enough to live comfortably. And he probably also got other investments like real estate, maybe a couple of car washes, maybe some restaurants. So I am in no way, shape, or form trying to say that he broke or he ain't got no money. Now, I will say as a rap artist, he fell off. Now, some people may say, well, how did he fall off? He still got cars. He still got jewelry. He still got homes. He taking care of his kids. Yes, kudos to that. But when we talking about the celebrity part of the game, when we talking about brand recognition, him being on the biggest shows, him being on albums and features with the biggest artists, we haven't seen him do that in a while. But the real thing I want to talk about is whether this is true or not. Dababy, his name always ends up in the middle of some weird controversy, right? So if we start off with the beginning, we'll start off with the situation in the Walmart. Dababy basically sat on Vlad TV and said, yo, these people were following me around Walmart. They were being aggressive. I had my baby with me. I had to defend us. Now, when we look at that actual tape from Walmart, it looks like allegedly Dababy is the aggressor, allegedly. Now, when you actually look further into that tape, you see that guy on the other side, and then you allegedly see Dababy allegedly walk over there towards that guy, allegedly, right? And then the shooting ensues shortly after. Now, I don't want to speculate about how he got off from this situation.
I'll just basically say he got self-defense in a case where a lot of people on the internet felt like it shouldn't have been self-defense. Now, I will say I believe this was a smear campaign because this video came out around the time he was into it with Megan Thee Stallion. So I felt like he was so big at the time, they wanted to do more things to discredit him. But when you look at his Walmart situation, that's what actually blew him up. The controversy blew him up. Now, to me, do Dababy make good music? Yes, he makes good music, but all his music sounds exactly the same. He don't have a change of flow, a change of cadence. I think one of his best songs to me is Cop Car because I like the fact that it had like a different vibe to it. But I think most of his career was built off of this controversy from Walmart. Everybody was trying to figure out, yo, who is this guy who clapped somebody in Walmart? He a real rapper. And we basically thought it was like, oh, his op was in there on him and he got on top of his op heels and whatever happened, he was ready to do what he had to do. But the guy actually turned out to be a teenager. And it's a discrepancy between this, but the family say that the guy was a fan of Dababy and was just trying to get an autograph or just trying to talk to him. Now, what I will say, when we look at families, families always have a different perspective of who their child is. And their child may be somebody totally different. Example, we'll see somebody die in the hood and his name will be Shooter, or his name will be Killer, or his name will be Ghost Bodies, whatever you want to call it, whatever those typical names is that people have who shooters in the hood, right? Or who, get busy. And they mama come out and say, oh, my baby never bothered nobody. He didn't deserve this. I want justice. And everybody around the hood is like happy that he gone. Like, yo, your boy was terrorizing everybody. We happy somebody got him out of here. So I won't really dig into that part of it because I don't know. Now, the next situation we got to look at. He was in East Atlanta filming a music video, and a couple of guys ran up on him, and basically they was talking about him checking in, and he checked them correctly, and I feel like he was right for standing his ground there. But the thing that confuses me about this is if these guys, I think this was staged, and I don't think it was staged by the camera crew. I think it was staged by Dababy. And the reason why I think it was staged because he wasn't even big at that time. So for those kids to come over there and just be like, oh, this Dababy and we know him and he rap, it don't make sense to me, right? But the other thing that don't make sense to me is these are supposed to be real street dudes. And I'm not saying these weren't real street dudes, but what I'm saying, most times what happened is if you embarrass a street dude, all he got to go off is his reputation. So if you're going to embarrass these guys, put them on camera, have them looking like they ain't standing on business, basically, they dead in the streets. So if they getting money in the streets, they doing anything about a career in the streets, it's over with for them, right? So, in my opinion, most street dudes, and we've seen this all over the time, when a rapper come at a street dude the wrong way, the street dude instantly have to reply to let the streets know that they standing on business. Why? Because the streets have to move around with them and they have to be feared or respected in the streets in order to continue to get their money in the streets. If you letting a rapper from out of town come to your town and check you, you not looking like you nothing in that town no more. Everybody in that town gonna start to feel like they can get over on you, and you're gonna have to make way more examples out of people, which is probably gonna lead to you crashing out. Cause all people gonna say is, oh, you tough now, but when that rapper came to town, you ain't say that to him. So I'm saying this to say that I believe that situation was staged, but it was also another controversial situation in Dababy life. Now, if we keep moving forward, the third situation, he was at a show. It was a rapper there. I'm not sure what exactly happened, but allegedly his security ended up beating on the rapper. The rapper ended up getting like two black eyes. And it was an up and coming rapper. It wasn't like a big time rapper. and the rapper ended up getting put into the hospital. If I'm not mistaken, they settled out allegedly. DaBaby avoided jail time. Now, when I look at this, of course you're not supposed to let that rapper disrespect you, but from what the rapper was saying and from what the people around was saying is that the rapper was basically either an opening act and he was trying to get a picture with DaBaby, or the rapper was an up and coming rapper and he was probably trying to spit to him or something, and security was just like, we don't want you around, and allegedly security got extra aggressive. Now, you know, security do get extra aggressive. Now, DaBaby ended up coming out and speaking on this situation, and he said allegedly that, you know, his safety was in jeopardy and the guy was going off and the guy was acting tough. So, you know, his security had to protect him, allegedly. But when we look at this situation, this is 3 situations where DaBaby has gotten into it with somebody, and we don't know if that person did anything to him or not. But it's starting to look like trouble is following DaBaby, or DaBaby is making trouble wherever he go. Now, I may be a little off on the timeline, but then we have another situation. A female fan come up to him. She got a light in her hand. She trying to take a picture of him or a video. He may be agitated at the show. He slaps the lady, allegedly, right? And his biggest thing is, oh, the light was in my eye. She shoved the phone in my face. I didn't know it was a lady. I didn't know what she was trying to do. My safety is my main point. And yes, this is true. His safety is his main point. But once again, it appears that either problems are following DaBaby or DaBaby is making problems wherever he go. So he explained himself out of that situation correctly, and we understand that. But a lot of people was up in arms at the fact that he smacked one of his lady fans and basically tried to excuse it off and then apologize later. But in apologizing, he still made it appear if the woman was at fault. Now, I'm not going to say that that woman should have put that camera in his face, but when you in a club, people been drinking and they excited to see you. You might be in a town where they never see any celebrities. You their favorite rapper. She might even think you good looking. She might want to get with you on that level. She just so excited to see you. She can possibly do something like that. And as an artist, you should be able to decipher between, yo, this is just a fan running up on me. And if a fan get too close, that should be taken up with your security after you get out of there. But anyway, like I said, either trouble is following DaBaby or DaBaby is putting himself in controversy places he go, allegedly. Now, we can't leave out what happened in Miami. DaBaby was doing a performance in Miami, and they basically ended up saying that the Miami promoter, and I'll be transparent here, the promoter from Miami actually hit me up a while ago when this first happened, and he told me a couple of things that happened. He said some things about the video, and allegedly the other guy who was gonna sue, since DaBaby didn't have any problems with him, DaBaby allegedly paid off that other promoter, which made the promoter who actually got hurt, it made his story fall apart. And if you DaBaby, you would much rather pay the other guy off than to pay the guy that you really got the issue with. But it was alleged that DaBaby ran off with like $30,000 or $20,000, and then he took the promoter phone, and then he took like some money outside of the promoter pockets or something like that. So that's how they got the robbery. Now, DaBaby basically said the promoter owed him some more money. The promoter was getting rowdy. He didn't respect it. He had to get his respect, etc. Right? So when I look at this situation, it always sounds like a good reason why DaBaby is getting into these situations, but it's never really any accountability on his end for his role in these situations. So when we looking at these situations, you can look at it and say, well, you know what? I see why DaBaby did what he did, but now I think we like 5 or 6 situations in, and it's always somebody else's fault. And so what I would say is, once again, is controversy following DaBaby, or is DaBaby making controversy wherever he go? Now, Let's go to the other situation with the hotel clerk. Now, Dababy is actually in a hotel. He said that the hotel clerk was trying to take pictures of him on the low. He told him no pictures and that it was unprofessional and to leave him alone. And he said he allegedly caught the guy trying to take pictures or videos of him on the low. And then he allegedly said he had to address him because it was about his safety. His daughter was with him and he was trying to make sure that the guy didn't leak his location and possibly put him and his daughter in harm's way. Like I say, he always have a story where it sounds like something happened and he did the right thing in that position. But where's your security if you that concerned about your safety? We were never able to confirm if this guy was taking a picture or not. We were never able to confirm if this guy was in the wrong or not. Now, I do believe the guy did apologize, but at that point, when this guy is the rapper and he makes millions of dollars and he comes to your hotel in whatever town it's in, you're expected to treat your top of the top customers like top of the top customers, because if it gets out that you're not treating your star list customers correctly, it could affect the hotel. So that guy would apologize in order to save his job, even if he's not wrong. But yet again, the story sounds legitimate. It sounds like a legit reason for you to do this to somebody. But I want to ask y'all one more time. Is Trouble following Dababy, or is Dababy making trouble where he go? Here's another thing Dababy got into. He had the situation where he was on stage and he was talking about guys sucking in the parking lot. Now, the reason I won't come down too hard on him with this, because I don't think he was being homophobic, one, and also it's a lot of artists who do something called a call to action. Hey, any pretty ladies in the house, say I. All the ladies say I. Any of my thugs in the house, raise, put your guns up, put your finger guns, like all of that type of stuff. That's called a call to action. So I think this actually blew up because of what he was doing with Megan Thee Stallion and actually standing next to Tory Lanez. I think that a smear campaign went out against him. But when he was bought with this controversy and they asked him to apologize, they said they was offended. He tried to stand on his business, and then once he noticed it wasn't no business to stand on because he was losing shows, he apologized later, and the apology seemed disingenuous. It was late. It felt like he didn't want to do it. So it was another piece of controversy that if this was his first thing doing, a lot of people would have overlooked it. And also, I spoke about the Walmart situation earlier. After this, the Walmart video came out as well, which is why I think all of this was a calculated smear campaign. But hey, is Dababy following Trouble, or is Trouble following Dababy? Another part to this situation, but also different. He did a song with Tory Lanez after the Megan Thee Stallion situation happened. Now, I'm not going to come down hard on him on this because I don't believe that he believed that Tory Lanez did that. There's a lot of people who still don't believe Tory Lanez did that. I'm not going to make this video about that. But what I will say, if you somebody who believe that somebody's not guilty and they being lied on or they being railroaded, or maybe you feel like you got some inside information, of course you're going to stand next to that person. But I think he made that situation way more controversial than he had to, which eventually led to his downfall in the fall off of his music career. Once again, if you coming into this video late, I'm not saying that he's broke. I'm not saying that he ain't got money. I'm not saying that he's not successful. I'm not saying that he's not a good dad. I'm strictly speaking about what has happened to his music career. And I think he took a stance that he believed in. And you can believe in something and take a stance on it without making it controversial and without going out your way, especially when you understand who's behind the person that you're going up against. But like I say, is controversy following Dababy, or is Dababy finding controversy or making controversy or making trouble? Dababy got into a feud with JoJo Siwa. Now, he basically used some controversial lyrics and basically, said, Igga, you a B, JoJo CY, B, she let the wrong end get rich. Now, I think that was wordplay, but it wasn't witty. It wasn't really good enough wordplay to use that. Now, in the expression of art, he should be able to say it, but also if her team sees this and say, this is an opportunity for you to put your name next to somebody else whose name is big and possibly open your fan base and possibly get an opportunity to get some exposure off of this, they're gonna do it, especially at the time with JoJo Siwa being one of the biggest stars in the world. Now you hear about her a lot less. I won't lie, since she came out the closet, her stock has basically went down just from being a musician, and I think also part of that is because she got older. But Dababy took the tweet and said, don't let me trick you into thinking I'd ever have a problem with you. My wordplay just went over their heads. It's all good. Shawty, keep shining. And then he also said, at JoJo CY, my 3-year-old princess is your #1 fan. I bought her every product you have out. She thinks she you. Now, is that true or is that false? I'm going to be honest. I believe that's cap. I don't believe he's brought her every product she got out. I do believe he's probably brought her some of her products. But I also don't believe his 3-year-old daughter wants to be JoJo CY. That just sounds like cap to me. But JoJo CY was big at one time. I'm talking about super big. And in 2021, JoJo CY wasn't that big anymore. She was transitioning into being an adult star, so to speak, and not like in a content creator OF way. I'm talking about adult as in being a grown woman. So y'all don't try to confuse her to cut that up and act like I said something I didn't. I must add context to it. But this was another hill that Dababy jumped on that he didn't have to die on. This was something that Dababy could have instantly apologized about. This was something that he could have elaborated what the lyric meant instead of just saying it went over y'all head. And then I found out one thing about controversy. When controversy happened, either you're going to address everything and explain yourself every time, or don't address nothing. And one of his biggest issues is that he feels a need to address and explain everything. And what happens is when you have a fan base, or when the people who don't like you or whatever, like let's just say you offended group A. If you reach out and apologize and say you didn't mean to and this and that, and you donate some money or you go see this, well, guess what? When you offend group B, they expecting that same treatment. And if you not giving them that same treatment, whatever you said that may have be offensive, they can make it seem like you meant it with malice in your heart. Why? Because when he offended group A, he did X, Y, Z. When he offended us, he didn't do any of this. So he feels like we are this and we are that. And they could run that narrative. And whether the narrative is right or wrong, the narrative will be taken and ran with because they have an example to go off of. Let's talk DaniLeigh brother. Now, I might be saying her name wrong, but hey, we here, right? So when you look at this situation, all the controversy basically started off because she got pregnant and Dababy started to make it be like, yo, I was never with this girl. She was just a jump off. I didn't want her pregnant. She the one who wanted to keep this baby, etc., right? Well, DaniLeigh took to the actual internet and she started showing pictures of them posted up together. She started showing pictures of them in bed together, pictures of them on vacations together. Now, what I think Dababy was trying to do, he already have a baby mama that he was rolling with. I think he was trying to keep that situation intact because he felt like he would be able, that's where his home is. He got to keep her happy. So that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to discriminate against a man or blame a man for, what may be his discretions or his ways, because as men, we all fall short or have failed short in the category of relationships. But that's just to give you some backstory. So the way he started treating her like she was a jump off. Oh, just side note, right? Just because a man is taking pictures with you, just because a man is taking you on vacations, just because a man is laying down with you and he hitting it raw. I know this sound crazy, women, but that does not mean he wants to be with you. So I say that to say DaniLeigh can have all this proof of them being together, and it could be nothing more than just him playing a role and them being together while him and his BM actually going through issues. But in his mind, he always gonna end up going back home, or he never left home from with his baby mama. But anyway, to move forward, DaniLeigh brother ended up getting into it with Dababy because he didn't like the way that Dababy was treating her on the internet, making her look like a jump off, somebody who slept around. Now, I will say from her brother's standpoint, he should have stayed out of it. Now, a lot of people may say, well, that's her brother. He's supposed to take up for his sister. Yes, you are supposed to take up for your sister, your family member, somebody you love. But one thing I always say, you should fight for someone, not over someone. So in this situation, when you dealing with matters of the heart, you don't know what she said to him. You don't know what she did to him. You don't know if she done put her hands on him. You don't know if she fighting. And most importantly, you don't know if she's going to end up going back with this guy after this discrepancy and this dispute is over. So what you have to do is just let everything play out how it's going to play out, as much as it may hurt. Now, if she come to you for some real help and she's ready to really get away from that situation, then you can give her some help. But that's always hard to gauge. Story time. I was probably about 13. I knew somebody. They had been in a relationship. The relationship was abusive. Them and this person used to be getting into it all the time. And I came over there one day and that person was cutting up. Well, 13-year-old me put hands on them, kind of hemmed them up, told him, listen, you got to leave, bro. You can't stay here. She don't want you here. I catch you here again, it's going to be worse than this situation. Well, put the guy out. The guy was gone for like a week. And then the guy ended up back in the house with her after a week. I walk in the house. The guy is at the stove with her drawers on, cooking them some chicken or something like that, right? So from that moment on, I never jumped in the middle of domestic violence anyway, because what ends up happening when you jump in the middle of domestic violence, you hurt that guy and she's at the hospital with him. You do something to that guy and you go to jail and she's back with him while you're in jail and you asking her to bail you out and she telling you, I can't bail you out, I ain't got the money for it. Or she's saying, I didn't tell you to do that, I didn't know you was gonna go that far. Even when we look at the situation with the ex-football player, his ex-girlfriend, and this happened in Florida. Y'all can look it up. His ex-girlfriend basically told her brothers, text him, go over to his house. He hit me, shoot that house up, blah, 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 right? So when those guys end up coming over there, they had guns out, but they didn't know that that guy had a gun. And she had also texted the guy that she was going to get something done to him, right? So he ended up shooting one of her brothers. She got her brother killed, but this guy ended up going to jail for a few years, lost his football career. And in that process, he ended up being exonerated and found not guilty for using the stand his ground law, which is a law that you can use in Florida. But at the end of the day, she self-destructed both of these guys' life and nobody cared. She just went on with her life and that same destructive behavior. So that is why I'm saying DaniLeigh brother should have stayed out of it, but he didn't. And what ends up happening is Dababy ends up seeing him at a bowling alley. It's a little controversy at this part of the story. We're not sure if he approached Dababy or Dababy approached him. But either way, allegedly, Dababy and his friends, it's a video out of them basically jumping on him. So he had a good excuse. Yo, this guy ran over to me. He was saying something. He was being disrespectful, and I'm going to stand on all business. I don't accept disrespect. All of that's fine and cool. But as I'm showing y'all, it's a pattern of Dababy getting into situations, having a great excuse for why he got into that situation. But when you look at this situation, it appears that Dababy was the catalyst to start in this situation. And also, we look at all these situations, and none of these situations was real street guys that he got into it with. Now, with the Atlanta situation, I think that was staged, but we can't say those weren't real street guys. And then with the Walmart situation, he was a teenager, but also at the same time, we can't say that he wasn't a street guy because we don't know. But with these other situations, we're for sure these aren't street guys, right? But like I say, is Trouble following Dababy, or is Dababy making trouble wherever he go? Dababy Miami shooting. Now, in this situation, Dababy was in Miami. Some of the details are fuzzy, but basically it appears they were on Ocean Drive at Prime 112 Steakhouse. They ended up getting into an argument with some people, and then a couple of shots went off. Well, once the shots went off, it was appeared that like maybe two people out of his entourage did the shooting. One of them was his artist named Wisdom. Dababy sat down and basically gave an interview to the police during this time. Allegedly, that video came out, and Dababy was saying, you know, he didn't do anything. It was a bunch of stuff that happened. These people in the car, or this might be a total different situation, and I'm bleeding two situations together. But what I do know about this Miami restaurant shooting, allegedly, you know, Wisdom ended up going to jail for that. I don't know how much time he got, but this was another situation where Dababy was in some controversy. Could he have avoided it? We don't know. Did he start it? We don't know. But the pattern is clear that is trouble following Dababy, or is Dababy creating trouble where he go? Dababy gets into fight with his artist Wisdom at a concert. Now, I'm not going to try to decide who is right or wrong. I'm just going to say he's the boss in this situation, and he gets into a fight with his artist that's never professional. Now, could his artist have been talking stuff? Maybe. The thing I don't like about this fight, though, is that he waited until his artist's back was basically turned and he swung on him. Now, the thing about the artist, you can tell the artist was nervous during this situation, because as an artist, you thinking about, man, my career is in this guy's hand. This is after that shooting that happened down in Miami. So Dababy could have been paying for his lawyer fees, trying to make sure that he stay out of jail. If you go off on him or you get into it with him, now your lawyer fees not paid, and there's more of a chance of you going to jail behind that situation. Also, you got to take into account that, you know, you've been around Dababy. You know the type of things he do. You've seen how he move, and you've seen how his security moves. So in his mind, he could also be thinking, man, if I hit this guy or do something, his security gonna jump me and they gonna stomp me out on camera, and now my rap career is over. So again, I'm probably on like situation 10 or 12. Is he creating controversy, or is controversy following him? Dababy shooting outside his North Carolina home. Somebody jump his fence and get onto his property, and whatever the guy was ended up doing or why he came over there, the guy should not have been on his property 100%. And Dababy ended up shooting the guy, and he ended up calling the police. And basically, he got off because the guy was on his property, and he basically said, hey, I feared for my life. I didn't know what this guy had. I've been in these type of situations before, and I've been in a home. Oh, I forgot. I'm gonna mention his home invasion situation before he blew up. But anyway, so he ended up shooting this guy. Now, the question mark to this was, did he have to shoot this guy? This guy didn't have a weapon, but I won't hold this against him, because I will say he acted within the law. He had a right to stand his ground. This guy was on his property. You can't take a chance with somebody playing with you at your home, your residence, where your kids and your family stay. I understand that, but I'll ask y'all this question again and repeat it with me. Is trouble following Dababy, or is Dababy creating trouble? In this instance, I think trouble followed him, but it's so much controversy at this time, you can't even give him the benefit of the doubt. One thing I almost forgot, Dababy home invasion. And Dababy telling this story from his perspective. When he was out in the streets, he was selling weed allegedly, and some people had basically came to try to rob him inside of a penthouse or a condo that him and his brother shared together. They both was paying rent for. And when they came in there, the guys came in there to try to, you know, rob him, and they was probably going to hurt him, but he shot his way out of that situation. Now, in this situation, we can't blame Dababy. These people ran up on him. They tried to rob him. He handled his business. I think the police basically got called. He ended up speaking to the police. He got out of the situation. I do think that one of the guys ended up being caught. I do not think he cooperated with the police in this situation, and maybe that guy got let loose. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. But I will say again, this is another instinct of controversy following him. Now, I will say with this situation, I just had to bring it up to give y'all a full story, but in no way am I blaming him for this situation of people trying to rob him. Now, if we were to interview those people, which I would never do, not saying, but I'm saying if they were interviewed or able to speak out, they might have a different story of how it went. They might say, well, you know, he invited us there in order to come and be a part of the house, and we were trying to do that. We got into an argument, and then he shot us for no, we don't know that. And that's allegedly, and that's something that I'm just saying from the standpoint of it could be something that happened. I'm not saying 100% for sure because I don't know. But what I am saying is controversy and trouble following Dababy, or is Dababy creating controversy and trouble? Now, this isn't really trouble, but Dababy mentioned he hit Megan Thee Stallion. Now, one of the biggest parts of the controversy is that Megan Thee Stallion was allegedly dealing with Kelsey boyfriend Tory Lanez behind her back once she got sick. Now, the egregious part of this conversation is that the Megan was upset with Tory Lanez for being on Kelsey, but she was also dealing with Dababy at the same time. Now, this could be true, this could be false. We've never confirmed this, and I don't care to confirm it. But it was another piece of controversy that he put himself in that he didn't have to, and that further fueled the downfall of his career. So I think I've given y'all a good enough breakdown of all the things that I know that Dababy has been in. And it's a couple of more things that he's been in, but I think I won't really touch on it at this time. But I think the last question I want to ask y'all, and I want y'all to be honest and non-biased with y'all self. Do Dababy create controversy and trouble, or do trouble follow Dababy? And one of the most notable things to me in this situation is that when he's in these situations, it never appeared to be with any real street business. He's a street rapper. He rap about busting his gun, and we know he'll bust his gun. We can never question, will he shoot somebody? We know for a fact he'll shoot somebody. He'll confront somebody. He'll fight somebody. My question is what happens when someone is bringing that same energy to him that he wants? Now, we can say that situation where he was in Miami, you know, he ended up doing what he had to do, or somebody on his team ended up doing what he had to do. But there's also an interrogation video where Dababy is saying, yo, it was a gun in the bag and I pulled it out, and, you know, these people was on the top of the car. It's allegedly something like that around that interrogation video. So, I don't know. I'm gonna let y'all make a decision. I feel like he attracts trouble and he uses that trouble to try to sell his career. And I think he was a one-trick pony. I think his music was one-dimensional, and his music wasn't great enough to carry him. It was the controversy that was carrying him more than anything. And when I say this, that don't mean that I don't think he haven't written great songs. I just think after a while, the style, the flow, the subject topic, it became stale. And what was another artist that we saw this with who attracts a lot of controversy to themselves, and also all of their songs basically sound the same? Well, you know what? I'm not gonna even mention his name because all of his songs don't sound the same. But his content inside of his songs sound the same. It's gonna be a Rolly, it's gonna be a Audemars, it's gonna be a bad bitch, it's gonna be people hating on him, it's gonna be popping willies. It's just like his content doesn't really change up. And along with all the controversy that he kept getting himself into, that kind of ended his rap career as well. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I saw Dababy going viral for that situation with the guy LAH Mike, and I decided to just be like, you know what? I'm gonna just put a timeline together of all the stuff Dababy did, because when the baby get online, and I'm not passing judgment because we all make mistakes. We've all been in situations. We've all done things we not proud of. We've all done things we had to do in order to protect ourselves or our family. And we've all escalated situations that we could have let die down. So this is not me passing judgment. This is me just doing a video that basically shows DaBaby is always in the middle of some controversy. And in my opinion, which is facts, I believe that DaBaby is attracting this trouble, and he likes that trouble because that trouble was driving his career. But one thing that street guys have to understand that come from the streets: white people only like to see you in street controversy. White people don't want to see you beating up on a woman. White people don't want to see you beating up on teenagers. White people don't want to see you stepping out of your lane and being allegedly homophobic, right? Long as you doing, and I'll say it this time, long as you doing nigga shit, white people appreciate you doing nigga shit. It's like them being on a nigga hood safari. They don't mind watching you do nigga shit. But the minute you start crossing your nigga shit over and it starts to affect their community, it starts to affect their people, it starts to affect the bottom line, which is money, they are going to step away from you and let you crash and fall. And in some cases, they are going to contribute to the crash and fall of you. And when we look at the Megan Thee Stallion and DaBaby situation, DaBaby career clearly was on a downturn, and he was in a whole bunch of controversy. And Megan Thee Stallion career was not only on an uptick, but she also had a level of controversy that could take her even higher in what was going on and what was happening around her. So, in my personal opinion, I believe the powers that be around her allegedly made an executive decision. Listen, we gonna get rid of Tory Lanez and we gonna get rid of DaBaby to let everybody else know not to play with us. If y'all got that time and y'all like this podcast and y'all made it to the end, if you don't, follow me on Instagram at FAIRPLAY_2333. Also, if y'all like power, I mean Ghost James St. Patrick power, I have a YouTube channel where I cover everything in there, give breakdowns, give theories. It's called Power Book Multiverse and Cinema, and that's on YouTube. Salute to all the Spit Squad. I appreciate y'all going with me through this transition. This is episode 3 of Same Spit, Different Face podcast. Appreciate y'all. Click the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. Peace.